Hi there, it's Vanessa Baker. Welcome along to my Facebook Live this afternoon. Quite a bit happening at the moment with the new catalogue launching this week. So that's been really exciting, and I can now show you things from inside the catalogue, pages of the catalogue. So that's fantastic. And I hope those of you who've got a copy have made a big list. And I'll be catching up with you all shortly. And now we'll just switch around. I've got a project today using a new suite, and it's actually an online exclusive, not in the catalogue. So this is a bit of a one to watch out for if you haven't seen it. So I'll just flip around. Now I might just have to play with my setup a little bit here with the lighting. Oh, that's not too bad. These are my card pieces. Oh, I don't need those ink pads. And I'll just double check that I have sound and things. Not too bad. Yep, that's all good. Okay, let's get started. Let's do some crafting. So I've got a couple of projects to show you. This is the stamp set, Thankful Garden, and there are dies. I've got two of them here. Where are the rest of them gone? Oh, I've been burying things today. Now I've just moved them, I think. Oh, and there are the masks. So this one comes with masks, and there's been a couple of other sets where we've had these sort of stencil type masks that you can sponge through to do the colouring. And we're not actually doing that today. We're doing something a little bit different. But this set in the suite or the bundle, you do get the masks as well. So that's really cool. And I'm just trying to lay my hands on these jolly dies. Where have I put them? Oh my goodness, I had them like 1 minute ago. They're probably here somewhere. Anyway, you've got dies that cut around these images, the floral images, and you've got ones that cut out the little leaves. And then there's extra dies. So this one does is part of a spray there of leaves, which are great for adding little extra accents. And there's also one for you get one for the double flower, and also one for the hydrangea that cuts out a little focal area from the stamp. So we're going to be using that today. I still can't see the dies. That's so random. Okay, moving on. I took inspiration from, what are they called? Crafting Through the Catalogue. I don't know if any of you follow them. They each month, every week I think it is, they have a different set from the catalogue, and they create projects using that set, and they're very, very creative people, and they do amazing creations. So this is one that they did for the Thankful Garden, and I think her name's Caitlin who did this particular project, and I just loved it. And I've actually done it for a friend's birthday this week, and I didn't quite do exactly what Caitlin did. So she painted her background with now I can't quite remember what she used. I think it was white ink that she'd watered down a wee bit. But I used the Painted Stripes stamp instead with white ink, and mine isn't quite as dark as hers, but I really like it as a bit of a subtle background. I don't know how good that comes up on the video. But yeah, I really liked that effect. And then she did the 3 flower heads of the, what's it called? Now it's gone out of my head. Hydrangea. And I can't remember. Oh, she watercoloured, that's right, her petals. But I wanted to use the masks, so that's what I did. And I wanted to do this in these sort of autumny colours because my friend's birthday is May, so it's autumn here in New Zealand. And also the gift wrap that I purchased to wrap her present was these sort of colours. So I've gone with that colour theme and used a variety of, I actually used Petal Pink, and that one that's just retired, Wild Wheat. I also put, and that was that stack that was here before actually, I put Mossy Meadow for the leaves, and a bit of Pecan Pie for the darker parts on the flowers, and yeah, Wild Wheat and Petal Pink for building up the colour on the flowers. And even though each layer, so like that is bring in number 1, that's number 1 mask. So you do your stamp and then you put that over and just blend with your brush over the top. But what I did is on some of the layers, I used 2 colours. So I didn't use that, I think it was mainly on this layer, on the number 2 layer. So when I had that over, I didn't go over the whole thing with 1 colour. I used 2 different blending brush colours to get that, because hydrangeas are so variegated in their colouring. So yeah, so that's a little tricks and tips for that one. But I wanted to show you that card because it's quite different to what we're doing today, but it's actually using the masks for the colouring, which is really effective. Okay, so the other card, and this is what we're making a variation of today, is this one. And this is cased from Emma Goddard, who's a demo in the UK. And she posted this with different, it was a wee while ago, and I was just going through some saved images, and I came across this one and I thought, wow, that's really effective. And I thought it could be used with this particular stamp set. So it's the black and white with just the 1 pop of colour, and it's like an ombre effect with the blending. So really effective, and you can do this with any colour. So here I've used Fresh Freesia. So I've got that one, and then the one I'm going to do on camera is the Lost Lagoon, just to show a completely different colourway of the same thing. So let's get started. There's my stamp set. Right, so I've gone ahead and got a few things ready. So I've got my card base, which I'll fold in half. And that's the thick white. So that's ready, pop that aside. And then I've gone ahead and embossed a layer, also in white, with the 3D, I think it's exposed brick, 3D embossing folder. So you've kind of got that brick wall sort of effect. So that's going to be our next layer. And I've cut a strip of the black and white DSP and that's from the DSP that goes with the suite, which I should have shown you. So you've got some beautiful bright colours here. And I think some of these actually cut out with the dies as well. Maybe not that page. This beautiful green grid pattern on the back of that one. Yellow flowers with these. I love this one on the back here. The line drawn leaves. One here with some pink and green and polka dots on the back, which would be really, really cool to use. Another green one with your Fresh Freesia on the back. This might be the one that cuts out from the die. Beautiful, bright. And I love that on the black background. And I love this black and white as well. And isn't this a fresh, lovely paper? And that's the one that I've used to make my little strip down the side like Emma had. So that's the DSP. But first of all, so I'll just put all that aside. First of all, we've got to make our focal point. This is where our stamping goes. And I've played around a little bit. So this one I think is the one I preferred. I did try and incorporate the leaf, which is on the stamp as well. But I found that it didn't quite work, just due to the placement. I couldn't then get some other blooms right in next to it. I was leaving big gaps. So I think this was the way I've decided to stamp it. Now I'm just going to put a mat down, and piece of scrap on top, because I'm stamping the stamp on a smaller piece of paper, it's going to get around the edges. So I'm just inking this up with Memento. And I'm going to start coming in off the side. So I'll just take a little bit of leaf, but not, actually no, I'll go and get rid of the leaf. Okay, going for it. Okay, so you see I've eliminated all but a little piece of the leaf there. And then I'm going to come back in at the bottom with some more of these flowers and try and nestle that up against the other image to fill in the bottom. And then I've got a little gap there which I can just put, if I can maneuver another little flower into that little gap, I will. I'm just looking through and seeing how I can position it so it's not going to go over anything else. There we go. Okay, I'm quite pleased with that. So the idea is you sort of want to fill it with the open stamped image. Now I'm going to do some blending. And also with experimenting, I don't need that mat anymore. We'll get rid of that. I found that I think it was easier to start at the top where it's the lightest. So Emma actually didn't put anything on the sort of the top, very top of her flowers. And I've tried to emulate that. They really just sort of go out into white and then have a very light amount of ink and then come down to the heavier. And I found that actually working from top to bottom, it was easier. So I'll just start off. So you always, so I like to get lots of ink on my blending brush. So I'm going round and round on my ink pad. And then that first bit of ink, it can be a bit blobby and you can end up with a sort of a blob. And it's in a round shape like that, which you don't really want straight onto your project. So I always start off on the scrap paper or on the glass mat. So get rid of that first blob and then go in. And because I'm wanting to slowly build up this colour, I'm just going to go very lightly to start with. And as I come down, down the page, I can press more heavily. So I'll just ink it up again. And now this time I'm not going to go over the bit at the top I've already done. I'm going to come through the middle here, so start a bit lower down, because really that's enough colour at the top there for my ombre effect. So now I'm more in the middle and bringing it down to the bottom. And the bottom is where I want it really dark. So just go straight in there now. And it's just a matter of working at it and always getting rid of that first blob. And just working at it until you get the ombre. It's getting there now. Yeah, I just found if I started at the bottom, I was kind of pressing too hard and then, moved up. I was still in that mindset and it became a bit dark. So working down light to dark seems to make more sense to the old brain. It's really just that bottom bit that you want quite dark. And you can still add if you feel it's getting too big a jump between colours. You can just add more into that middle section. But I'm quite pleased with how this is coming out. And I can just push some up into that middle part. And now I've pushed a lot off my brush just then, so if it did feel like I wanted a bit more at the top, I can just come in and again I'm pressing lighter now. Down here where I'm doing this dark, I can really go for it and really press, firmly. My bristles are sort of, I'm squashing that quite firm, but up here I would just be a lot lighter. Because you can always add more, but you can't take it away. It's a bit more difficult. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just wondering if I need a little bit more through there and then a darker. Really dark at the bottom. Okay, so that's our ombre front for the card. And then I've gone ahead and stamped the, now I'll show you on the stamp. So this little die here, I got the dies and I was like, I wonder what that bit's for. So I worked it out on the stamp. It's actually that petal, a flower, that flower and that flower. So I don't know if I put it on there. You can kind of see they're down right by the stem, that little cluster. So I stamped that on a scrap piece and die cut it out. I've got it here. And I thought instead of doing the blending again, which would be nice, I decided to use blends. So I've got my Lost Lagoon blends, and I just want to paint this so it's not, so a bit like what Caitlin did on hers with the watercolouring, is I'm not filling in every little part of the leaf. I'm sort of leaving a bit of white. You can even just do like big strokes and not be too fussy. That's the kind of look I wanted. Okay. And then I'm going to add, oops, I want the brush end, just add a little bit of dark detail to the centres, just dotting that on. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that very clearly. So that's what I've, so see, I've still got some white bits missing in that. It's sort of that kind of watercoloury look, which I quite like with the hydrangea. It's that kind of flower. You can get away with that kind of thing. And then I've gone ahead and die cut the leaf, and I've cut a bit away. Now I'm not sure quite how much of this I'm going to use. On this first one I just did the top 3 leaves, but I found it was a little small. I would have liked it to have gone over that way a bit more, so I've left a bit more this time to have a little play with that. But that's just from that die. So again, just a scrap piece of white, ran it through, got my leaves. And for the sentiment, I did my other one as a birthday, but this time I wanted to do a Mother's Day card. So I've gone ahead, this is a retired stamp set, but one that I've kept for just for like this stamp. Not many stamp sets have Happy Mother's Day in them, so when you do get one, it's a good idea to hold on to it. It only comes around once a year, so yeah, I've just had this one on my shelf. So I've gone ahead and embossed that on the black, and I'm going to cut around it. I thought I'd show you my sort of fussy cutting of a sentiment. So the way I put this together is I put some adhesive on the back of my stamped and sponged piece, just on the edge. And I made this 1.5 centimeters, but you're just going to have probably half of it viewable, and just make sure it's straight. And then I pick it up and make sure that I've got it right at the top, so those two are flush. And then if there's anything extra at the bottom, which there is, I will just turn that over. Here we go, just do it this way and just trim that off. Sometimes I leave that little bit extra long so that you've got just that little extra 0.5 millimeter or so if you need it. Okay, so that's the front. Then that's going to stick onto our embossed piece. And I've just stuck this flat. You could put it up on dimensionals. And again, I'm getting it right at the top. And then if there's anything extra, I can just trim it. Make sure that's nicely stuck down. Okay. And we could actually stick that while I've got the glue in my hand. I'm going to stick it onto the card base as well. I really like this idea of a card doing the black with just one colour, black and white. You can just use whatever you have. And with flowers, you know, there's so many colour choices, and especially with hydrangeas, they come in every colour in the rainbow just about. Okay, so the next thing is I might do the sentiment next. So with this, I use my lovely paper snips, and I'm just going to come in. Actually, I'll start on just going to sort of follow the letters, but leaving some of the black there. And I don't want to go too close. I'm wanting to still keep a bit of the thickness of the words. So just sort of follow the ins and outs of the letters for a bit of interest. And actually raise that up a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Just go round and round, and I'm sort of turning the card rather than the scissors. It does make it easier. Yeah, I like that it's got a heart for the O. It sort of works for both people who say mom with an O and people that say mum with a U. It's a heart instead. Okay. So it's not quite as deep and large as my happy birthday, but I'm working with what I've got. Okay, so the little flowers go on. So the idea with this, the placement of this, is that I wanted to see that progression of the colour up to white. So I don't want to cover that up by having it up too high. So come down a little bit here. And I also want to break the edge of this, so have a little bit of a petal overhanging. So I've got dimensionals here. Welcome along if you're joining me live. Lovely to have you. Okay, so that's going to come out about there. And now I've got my leaves to play with. So one thing I don't want is the leaves to be like overpower the flowers. And this is going to come down here. So I probably don't need that leaf there. It's going to interfere with my sentiment. So perhaps if I do that, it just means the leaves are still connected to the flowers by having that leaf there, but I've got it coming across and breaking through on this side, which is what I wanted. So we'll do that. And to stick those on, I used the mini dimensionals cut in half. So I'm not going to dimensional that one, but I will do that one and that one maybe. Oh, I might do that middle one as well. You can cut edge pieces as well. pull these off. Okay, now I just need to work out roughly where that's going to go. The bottom of the flowers there, and then just slide my leaves into place. About there, I think. And I didn't put a dimensional on that one just because it's going to be interacting with my happy. I can always slide one in later. So now the plan was to put this on dimensionals, but I haven't left myself very much room. So again, I think I'll do this is the black ones because it's using black card. So I'm going to cut them in half. And I'm going to put them just at the bottom where I've kind of got these larger areas, and the top part of my words is going to be over the flowers. So I just want that dimension at the bottom to hold everything up. Okay, now some little dots of glue. I'll probably want a little dot on the H and the D, and maybe just above the heart, just to connect it a little bit to the flowers. Something like that, except I've sort of got this bit poking at the bottom. How can I cover that up? About there. That's a little bit better. Yeah, so now I've only got a small little piece of white showing there, which I'm happy with. Okay, all good. So we put our sentiment on. And lastly, I've got somewhere. Oh, now have they gone the same way as the... Oh, that's where I put them. Okay. I found the bling, and I also found the dies. So you've got dies here, going back to what I was saying before. So you've also got this one that will cut out separate, in whatever colour you like, of leaves with little veins in them and things. Very nice. These are the ones that cut... Oh, that was right. That cut the shapes. And so this one's for the hydrangea, and then you've got this one here. I'm not sure what flower that other one is. I'll have to start having a play with that. I don't know if you can tell me what kind of flower that is. Kind of reminds me of a poppy, but I don't know. So those dies cut that one out. Right, I'm glad I found those. And I've just got this beautiful twinkly black embellishment here. So I'm going to stick that on, a little piece up there. And a couple down here. I really like that black, how it just pops with the black and white. So that's the same card done in the two different colorways. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to make a few more of these. It was really quick to put together, and a really nice idea to get a bit of color, black and white. Now I'm just going to do the inside of the card. I think I've got, yes, here we are. There's the inner. So again, I just stamped, and this time I stamped just on the edge with the flowers. So we'll just put a bit of ink on there. Oops, I've got dimensional backings everywhere. And just on the corner here. Oh, now I see I've got black ink on my hand. Watch me get that everywhere. the tissue. Where I got that from. You do have to watch the edge, I find, of the Memento ink, because you're putting it down onto that pad, and if you miss, you end up with ink on the edge of the lid, which can then easily transfer onto your hands and then onto your project. So yeah, try and keep your lid clean. That's my advice. Right. So I'm going to come back in with my Lost Lagoon. And I've probably got enough on the brush to do a start with getting some light colour down. And then I'll ink it up and just come out a bit further with a darker. So now I'm pressing. And then I want to come in just in the very corner with my really darkest shade. Just like the front. Yeah, cute. Very effective. And then I'll pop that inside the card. I like to just glue down the inside edge of the inner. And then I'm laying it on so I've got an even border around the top, the side and the bottom, and then I'll press it in. Oh, and I've got a little bit of that pesky ink down there. Never mind, it's handmade. Just got a little blob there, but that's my inside to match the front. I'm really happy with that. So I hope I've inspired you and taught you something, maybe about blending brushes. And thank you to Emma for her lovely project that we've cased. That's what casing is about. It's taking an idea and using a different set, a different colour, and slightly different layout or something, and yeah, just making it your own. So that was the idea with today's card. So I hope you enjoyed that, and you will think about perhaps ordering the Thankful Garden suite. Like I said, it comes with the masks and the dies, and I think you can get the masks, the dies and the paper all as one code. So have a look at that online under Thankful Garden, and you can get the pricing and everything from there. And sit tight, and I'll be sending you out the PDF for today's project. If you're on my mailing list, you will get that in your email. And if you're not on my mailing list, then you can hop on. You can hop on quickly, because I haven't written it yet. So you've got a few hours to get on there, and I'll post the link for that in one of the comments on the video, so you can have that and hop straight in. So thanks for your time today, and I'd love to hear what you think of the cards and the blending method that I've used, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye for now.